You are now listening to the Artsindy Crossroads show.
Here's Suk-Yen Lee, host for CBC's Definitely Not the Opera and former VJ for Much Music.
I just Googled Nick Panu online, and I'm just trying to get a visual image of this person I'm talking to, you.
You can go to
You're
YouTube.
in a room pretending you're Marlon Brando, and you're asleep on your you're asleep on your laptop.
Mongero, Stargate Atlantis.
Nick, and if you personally keep supporting the film like you have, then it'll all go great. So thanks again.
Gary Chalk.
Voice of Optimus Prime.
Transform and roll out.
You know, culture and art and expression are fundamental to that essence of life.
It does take some strength, and it does take the skin of a rhino sometimes. You know, it's worth it. It really is. It's worth it.
Film, theater, music, the arts.
Good early evening to everyone here in the Valley. You're listening to Civil Radio 101.7 FM, broadcasting to the Fraser Valley from the UFV Abbotsford campus on the traditional and unceded territory of the Stolo people.
I wanna tell you a tale of glory. I was the hero, but it's not that kind of story. The sad truth is,
Listeners, right now we are on the line with the man, JARROD Tyler from the JARROD TYLER Band, who will be performing with the original members from the JARROD TYLER Band this Friday at the Railway. Their last show in the Lower Mainland Valley. Wow, it's great to get this opportunity to talk to you, JARROD, before your last show at the Railway. And Ollie and Jeremy are coming back for this last show.
Yeah, Jeremy and Oliver, Jeremy and Oliver are going to be playing with me. They've actually been playing the last couple shows up here with me, so they're the original members, the original guys from that I started it with years and years ago. So that's cool.
JARROD, I'm not saying this, and it's not like someone's been in my ear, but you never been like the Van Halen brothers, where they, just because the band is their namesake, that they kind of abuse their power a little bit in the band, like, because Van Halen, they figure, you know, that's their, you know, they are Van Halen, then they just trying to flex their muscles in the band. You see the band as a whole. You don't see JARROD Tyler as the, you know, exclusively as, you know, you see each element part, the bass player, drums, like Ollie, and like when you think of JARROD TYLER Band, you think about all the drummers who've passed through, the bass players, because you always hype them and you talk about them and how important they are to the band.
I do?
Yeah.
I do, yes, I do, because they are. But like the whole Van Halen thing, are we talking about me and my alternate personality? I don't know.
No, I kind of went on a tangent because I've been watching a documentary online, or it was a Howard Stern interview, and Howard Stern was, he was talking to Sammy Hagar, like in the recent past, maybe 5 years ago, and he's, you know, like they've kind of had their falling out, and he was saying, do you think that because the Van Halen, you know, the band's named after them, that the brothers kind of had too much control, like getting rid of lead singers and bringing other ones in?
Oh, yeah. Hey, by the way, who do you think, I mean, if you had to see Van Halen live, who would you choose to see, with Roth or with Hager?
Man, people don't like to answer that question because it's like half and half, like, you know, okay.
Really?
Yeah, well, if you want to sound hip and cool, you say, oh, the old Van Halen. But the new Van Halen had more commercial hits, right?
Yeah, I know, but you know what? I actually saw this video of It was like the original lineup of Van Halen, and they were playing like on Hollywood Boulevard somewhere. But this was recently, right? So, you know, they're all kind of their age, right? And it was funny because David Lee Roth was swinging his microphone around, like hit him in the face, and he was bleeding. It was just like,
oh, that was on Conan, wasn't it? He broke his nose.
did he break his nose?
Oh, that's what somebody told me. He actually broke his nose when he.
He like finished the show too, which is that's so rock and roll. But I don't know. I think I'd rather see it with David Lee Roth. But see, the thing is I'd rather see it when he was young, when he was like swinging across on the.
Oh, the kicks and everything.
Where he'd like swing across from like, I don't know, like he's on some kind of stirrup and, you know, doing like the kicks and everything. Like,
yeah, the splits.
That would be cool.
Yeah, the splits.
Seeing them now is like cabbages. It's kind of, it's depressing almost because you're like, yeah, like where did it all go? You know, it's just like.
But when you see because thing is, Michael Anthony, the former bass player, because the present incarnation of Van Halen is the original lineup minus Michael Anthony. Has
Michael Anthony.
The bass player, Michael Anthony. There would be no Van Halen without Michael Anthony.
I didn't know his name. He was like the bald guy with the perm who played bass.
No, there was no bald guy in the band. But Wolfgang, Eddie Van Halen's son, is the bass player, right? Plus the original lineup, minus Michael Anthony. Right? So Michael Anthony is with Sammy Hagar. I don't know if they're still doing their thing, but it's they have a band called Chickenfoot, and they're entertaining, right? Because I can watch Sammy Hagar play now at this stage in his life, and he's really entertaining. It's right, like when I see David Lee Roth perform now and he's doing those kicks and everything, it's like, come on, man, you're going to hurt yourself, right? And
well, he did hurt himself. I mean, man, imagine taking like a Shure 58 to the nose. Like that's got to hurt, especially when you're swinging it around. But I mean, I guess at one point he used to do this all the time, and you know, like that never happened. That's probably the first time he ever hit himself in the face with a mic. It's not funny, but it's just, you know, I couldn't believe I was seeing it. It was just.
See, the thing is, there was never that politics.
With our band, no.
No, like backstabbing politics, trying to, you know, get rid of the lead singer. Well, you, the lead singer, are
trying to get rid of myself, firing myself. No, you know what? It's like when we started it, we were looking for a name. We had all these names, and we had them written down on a paper. We couldn't figure out like which name, and so I didn't even suggest it. I think it's possible Oliver may have suggested it. Just, you know, like, let's call it the JARROD TYLER Band, because that way it is what it is. I write the songs and whatever, they just figured. And you know, the thing is that if at any point I've had kind of a revolving door on members, it's not that I've kicked them out or that there's been any animosity. It's just like, I'm just happy to have any great musicians, like well-schooled, high-level musicians that will play with me, right? Like when I do shows down in Seattle, Portland, I have some guys down there I play with, high-level guys that are like very, very well-schooled. And not only that, they just, you know, they have the soul, they have the feel, right? LA, same thing. I have some guys down there I play with. And then up here, because Oliver and Jeremy are Canadian, so they can't really come down to the States with me. But when I'm up here, it's just amazing to have these guys playing with me, right? So, yeah, technically I have a few different lineups, but, I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm trying to get rid of anybody or anybody's, like, there's animosity. Like, it's just, you know, it's just cool musicians, good musicians. I'm happy to play with them. Who wouldn't be, right? Like, Jeremy, probably Jeremy's one of the best bass players I've played with. Like, if you listen to his bass lines, they're insane. They're busy as hell, but like very few bass players can pull off being that busy and have it just mesh and sound really well with the music. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Sorry, I was trying to be a little sarcastic, and I kind of went on a tangent. Like
that was a sarcastic question, and I gave you this long, serious answer.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, I was trying to be sarcastic, and you gave a serious answer, and yeah, very enlightening.
I kick everybody out, man. I'm a total prick. Egomaniac, just like a narcissistic egomaniac.
But it's been cool for me, like watching you guys. Like I saw the two different drummers, the different bass players.
Who did you see playing drums? Probably Travis, I guess.
Yeah, it was Travis, and then of course Ollie starting, and then Ollie came back, and then Ollie's gonna be playing. Yeah, like while you're playing in Vancouver this weekend at the Railway. Then the bass players, there was Jeremy in the beginning. Then there were two other bass players. Besides
I had a few other ones.
Yeah.
And then drummers. Yeah, I had Travis. Travis was just a machine. Travis, like, man, I remember his kit fell apart at a gig, and he was still playing it. Like, the ride was falling down. He was still just hammering on it while it was falling.
No, I remember I interviewed you guys outside. That my very first video that I edited on Movie Maker. And, yeah, you told me to take it off later. That's cool, though.
Rogue. Well,
it's okay. Yeah. Again, I'm trying to be sarcastic, and then a punchline somewhere there. But
it's funny because go ahead.
So, Jared, there was actually a new single you sent me, and what's in the works? There's a new album or a new single you have out?
Yep. We're like, I started like when I was living down in Los Angeles like most of the year last year, so I was down there feeling inspired. I wrote a ton of songs, and then it was like I tracked them there. We were supposed to produce them there, but then I came back to Vancouver because we got a few shows here, some good operas. So I came up, and on the way up, I decided to make a documentary. So then the production of the album got sort of held up, and so we just got back into it maybe in January. So at this point, I think we're like 8 songs in. I think we got like maybe 2 songs left to really produce. They're sort of half produced. And then, it's going to be done, I would say, it should be done in March or April. Got to master it and do some other stuff to it. But, yeah, that's coming out. I'm stoked. And that's actually one of the songs off of it that I sent you was Downtown Lover. That's kind of my favorite off the album.
Yeah, and we will be playing that on the show today. Is there something in a jam or something when you're working on this album? Maybe you're trying to kind of some mission, some objective, like you want to hear more drums, something with the bass you want to cue up, or something in your songwriting you hit on some experience, like you talk about the documentary you spent some time in this town, a special place.
North Bend, Washington.
Yeah, and maybe something with your writing. You had to hit this. There's something like in your singing you wanted to hit on this new album. So, is it a mixture of a lot of different things on this album, or there was a focus on something?
Oh my God! This guy just ran across the street with a car. he almost got beamed off by a semi. Oh my God!
Oh,
that was so close. I just almost saw a guy die just now, just 2 seconds ago. Man.
Yeah, Jared's sitting inside the cafe doing this interview, a quiet cafe, and he just noticed this happening across the street.
Yes, I'm sitting inside of a cafe, and this guy just ran out. Anyway, about your question, man, I don't know, dude. It's like. I guess you're asking like what inspires the artist to write, right?
Oh, no, yeah, like on this album, was there?
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I guess in an unconscious way there is something, but was there something you were aware of? You noticed there's kind of some agenda you had as an artist that you didn't realize till you were like in the jam session or writing, and
sometimes you don't realize it until the album's out already for a year, and you're like, wow, like that kind of fits with like a story. I guess because that's what songs are. It's like, you tell a story of either your own personal life, or these are kind of more. I wouldn't say they're autobiographical. It's more like they're sort of hypotheticals, I guess.
So it wasn't like, I don't know. I saw that interview on Oprah a while ago.
Oprah, you watch Oprah?
Maybe recently on YouTube. See, like Michael Jackson. When he wrote Man in the Mirror, he was in the tree, right? He said, like, I was up here in the tree, and now this is where this is where I have my peace of mind and everything. This is where I wrote "Man in the Mirror." Shall moan, shall moan, shall moan.
Yeah,
And I just like to say, Oprah, these allegations are not true. I don't know. He like Michael Jackson, go in the tree, and then he come up with songs. So that was kind of my mindset perspective when I hit you with that question.
Yeah, you're basically asking me like, what inspires the artist to write? Like I don't know. I mean, I guess there's been songs that are totally inspired, and you're so passionate about them, and it's just, you feel like you've put every atom of your soul into it, and then people listen to them, they don't get it. And then there's other ones that, you kind of write in an hour or two, and it's not even like anything, and then people really connect with those tunes, and it's like, wow. I guess, and then they'll be like, dude, I love this song because your heart's in it, man. I can hear your heart in it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, but was your heart really, I mean, I guess there's levels. I don't know. Like, I think I write, it's like method writing, like method acting, right? Like if you have, these actors who, like, gain, like, 100 pounds to do a role. Like De Niro did it in Raging Bull, and then after that, all these actors were doing it. And, or like Marlon Brando in Last Tango in Paris, right? I mean, this is like just hardcore method acting. I would say I'm basically like a method writer because, like, I try to live everything that I write. I don't think you can really write about anything unless you kind of experience it, whether it's imagined or whether it's actually happening to you. I think some way it's like Neil Finn once said that as a songwriter, you go to this place to write your songs. Like, you go to a place in your head and you're not necessarily useful in any other aspect, any other facet in life except for songwriting while you're in this place. So maybe that's it. It's like meditative in a way. But, like, I can't explain it. I mean, you could sit there there's times you sit there at the piano for hours and it's just shite, like nothing happens. And then there's times you'll hear it in your head. You'll be driving down the street or, whatever you're doing, and then suddenly a song will it'll appear, and then by the end of the afternoon, you've got, like, this orchestra going on. Like, you can hear the organ, the piano, the backup vocals, the bass, the drums, every little nuance. And then it all comes together. And then at that point, then it's like I'll take it into the band, and I'll say, okay, this is the tune. And then they kind of put their own little things into it. And, yeah, it's like this whole process, right? And it starts with this spark of, like, who knows what that is. It's like taking a completely abstract idea and turning it into something that's tangible. It's in recorded form. It's on tape or whatever.
It's really this is really interesting, man. Method writing, and then the process you're talking about. Because I heard a recent interview with he's the only surviving BG brother, and he was talking about one of the songs he wrote driving across the bridge in Australia, and there was a click sound, and there's a famous song they have, and he got it from that, and just the surroundings there and everything, all the instrumentation, everything played in his head, and so it's
just
really
from hearing the click of his tires.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it can happen anyway. Like, there's really no way. Like, but I think I think you can kind of try to put yourself into that headspace, I guess. But sometimes it just happens. Sometimes if you're, I mean, you don't even really have to be feeling, like, emotional or anything. It can just, something just happens. You can be feeling happy and suddenly everything just clicks. I don't know. It's weird. What I find fascinating is that, these songs, I don't know where they come from, and then suddenly it just, like, it starts to form in your head, and then before you know it, it's like it's an entire song, and then it's finished in your head, and then you'll be listening to, like, the mastered copy in your head, like in the studio in your head, and you have that all done before you even bring it to the band, right? So, and then, of course, after you bring it to the band, then you got to record it, and then when you're in the studio, it's this struggle to try to make it sound exactly how it did in your head, because that's the whole objective. And sometimes that works out, and it's really easy, and you can make it sound exactly how it sounded in your head, and then other times it doesn't really sound like it did, and it doesn't sound right. And it's not that it's any worse of a song, it's just, I guess you get married to the idea, like the vision of it. So it's this whole process. It starts with a spark of who knows what, magic, I don't know. And then it turns into something that's actually like a hard copy CD or whatever, right?
Yeah, Jared, playing at the Railway this Friday. You know, for a lot of artists, not just musicians, you know, playing at a different venue definitely has an impact. And you have a lot of history there. I've known they changed the Railway a little bit. You say it's actually better. It's changed, and it's kind of the same. It's a little better. But Jared, what's it going to be like for you to play at the Railway this Friday? Actually, what are the acoustics like and the setup for the audience? Like, I'm sure you played a little different there, like artists do. You know, different venues are different. Like, is kind of different vibe, energy, and you kind of react the way artists react to.
That's totally true, man. Like, some places you go into, I mean, just my personal experience, I don't know, but, like, there's venues, like when we were playing down in Los Angeles, there's some venues were just super great sound. Like, they had a great sound system, and then you got your own personal monitor. Drummer has his own monitor, his own personal monitor mix, and so your stage sound is just sick. So it's like you're gonna play better when it sounds better. And there's times, like, I remember we played this place in Seattle. I'm not gonna mention which one, but man, it was the worst sound system. It wasn't even like a sound system. We've had that in Vancouver too. There was one place in Gastown we played, and they had like Bose speakers. That was their mains. Like, there was no maybe there was one monitor, but it was terrible. And then you bring in a drummer into that. Like, of course, you know, your drummer's going to overpower it, so then it's like this constant reminder, you know, like the sound man will be telling you, look, your drummer has to play quieter. And I found that in Vancouver more than any other place I've played, that here there's only really a few clubs, I think, that are doing live music right. Like, they're doing it the right way where, you know, it's all bands all night. You know, it's not this where, you know, bands are going from 7 till 10, and then there's like a dance party. So essentially, like, you know, like a bill of wicked bands is opening for like a dance party, like a cover band or something, right? It's like at the Railway Club, they actually, I think it's like around 9 o'clock, they move all the tables and chairs out, and then they have bands on, you know, like they host bands all night. You know, it's not like a dance party comes on at the end of the night. It's like all bands all night. And a lot of people like that. A lot of people don't want to go and sit from, you know, like go see one of their favorite bands at 7:30 p.m. Like, how lame is that? 7:30 p.m. It's like, and then also the other thing I've noticed is that, look, we've played every place in town. All right, we've played almost every place in town, and I'll tell you, some places, you know, they will ask you to come in as a duo, and they'll say, yeah, come in, or they'll say, bring your drummer, but he's got to play in a cajon or something. And like, if you're a rock band like we are, I think it's like, how can you play with a cajon behind you? Like, it doesn't even make sense. And I think a lot of these talent buyers, they don't understand that. They just think it'll work, right? But probably because they're not artists, right? They're just, you know, they're talent buyers. So, you know, when you do go into a place and they say, okay, you know what? You can play as loud as you want, and you're going to get a great mix, and, you know, you feel more comfortable. If there's restraints and you got to play with, like, you know, your drummer has to use brushes or something, I mean, that's lame, man. Like, especially if you like to rock out, like, how are you going to do that with brushes? You know, and then you're not going to sound like you're intended to sound. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's almost like there's a fear of loud music here. I don't know why, but that's what I've noticed. The Railway Club is not one of those clubs. They don't mind how loud you go. The Railway Club, too, like, you know, back in the old days, like, you know, when they had the train going around the ceiling and...
oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, like, I think that was always one of my favorite places. It was always... We always loved to play there. I mean, we've been playing there for years and years. I mean, we've always been regulars there. So when they closed it, it was funny because we actually had our CD release scheduled there, and then they like closed it, which that was when I was doing my documentary. And so like we got to film all that, but when it reopened, we thought, like, we weren't sure it was going to happen. We weren't sure if it was going to be open as like another sports bar where you got 20 screens and it's just sort of like live music is just sort of something on the side that they want to do. But actually, it's I'd say I wouldn't say it's any worse, any better, but it's like they managed to maintain it, right?
Yeah, because I heard the stories, I don't want to mention names, of some venues that were renovated. They had the same name, but not the same theme and not the same energy vibe. And the lineup of bands, the kind of the genres had changed. So it's good to know the Railway, the old Railway, they're still trying to maintain the... Jared, what time will you be performing? Do you know what time you'll be performing this Friday at the Railway Club?
I'm told we're on at 9:40.
Okay, listeners, you can catch Jared along with the original members of the JARROD TYLER Band, Oliver on drums and Jeremy on bass. This Friday at the Railway at 9:30, you said, Jared?
That's what I'm told, yeah, 9:40.
9:40. So, yeah, make sure you get there a little early at the Railway. That's on the downtown, right next to the 7-Eleven on upstairs on Dunsmuir Street, right?
Dunsmuir and Seymour.
Yeah. Jared, it's been awesome catching up with you again. It's been a while since we talked, and yeah, I'm so hyped about seeing this show with original members from the JARROD TYLER Band. We go way back.
Yeah, I'm excited too. It's gonna be fun. It's always fun. Always. So.
Last show in Vancouver for a while, and Jared's gonna go back on tour in the States.
I wanna tell you a tale of glory. I was the hero, but it's not that kind of story. The sad truth is that you set the thing on fire. You lit it up. You had enough. You're a downtown lover. Maybe someone can talk some sense to me, 'cause all I see is just a sentimental tragedy. You've got your wreck down to a broken heart. You're a downtown lover. I crashed your party. It was my nature. You called me crazy. Was the dead right nomenclature? And how about you? Well, you said